Hey, it's Andreas, and today I will comment on the current situation with the Russia crisis and the buys that I made in this period. And I will go over a quick, summary on each of the buys as well, rather than to sort of make them into different videos to save time for you guys and make more value. All right, so if you've been living under a rock, you would not have heard about, Russia entering into Ukraine. However, this caused the index in Russia, the MOEX as it's called, to drop by 50% at the most before recovering some. And then yesterday, Friday, the last trading day, it was up over 20% the last time I checked. So a big recovery. And I also had this thought that, right in the beginning of war, this is when the market is peak fear. This is when everybody's scared, and this is the perfect time to invest in a lot of the cases. It signals bottom, as most conflict are region locked today. And, companies and stocks, they're driven by earnings, and a small restricted sort of conflict will not have a big impact on the wider stock market. Just look at the United States and their different actions that they've taken in the past. All right, so I wanted to buy a lot into the Russian index, and I decided to, save 70% of my paycheck this month. But for those of you who understand Swedish, you will see, on the right side here, a message from my broker saying that they're doing some restrictions on the Russian markets. So I was not able to buy the dip when it hit, and I missed out on a big recovery. I guess you gotta have some sort of special private banking account to be able to access the Russian capital markets. However, I'm just a normal retail investor and I don't have that luxury. So I had to do some other buys instead. And those were 110 shares of Palantir at $11.38, 800 shares of Huang LNG at $4.29, and then 240 shares of Stoneco at $11.54. So those were my buys instead, since I couldn't make a quick scalp on the Russian index. And for those of you who are subscribed and have followed along, this is not a big surprise for you. You've seen me talk about these companies before and the buys that I do. And just to talk, when would I sell Palantir? I see a lot of fear in the market. Cathy Wood has dropped a majority of her stake in the company. And I mean, if this was 2013 and I was a new investor and I had just bought my first stock, then sure, I would have panicked in a situation like this. However, as with all companies that I invest in today, I have a plan beforehand. And in the case of Palantir, I want to see them accelerate in the commercial sector mainly. So if growth were to slow down massively, then that would be a signal for me to sell. Also, margins. If you watched my last Palantir video, I complained a bit about margins. They are low now, and if margins collapse, then this is something that's very bad. But again, they've taken in a lot of new salespeople, and this affects yada yada, etc. You can watch the earlier video if you want to hear more details. And then also bad customer retention. That would be a terrible sign and a sell signal. Because remember, a company is not its stock, and a stock is not its company. So just because the market quotes you a price one day and then a different one another, a huge difference has not been made in the actual operations of the company, and that's what will determine the value of the stock in the long run. I mean, just to give you an example, let's say that you have a radiator in a room and you set it to 21 degrees Celsius, and then all of a sudden if you open a window, well, it might drop down to 18, but in the long run it's going to go back up to 21. So these short-term fluctuations, that's nothing to worry about. I look at fundamentals instead. And regarding Huang LNG, this company is, if you look at restricted cash, they're building up a lot of it, and they're not paying dividends right now. And I mean, just look at this, is in thousands of American dollars. Look at all this restricted cash that they have on a market cap of only 144 million. This is also in American dollars. So crazy value in this company right now. They're profitable. They have a price to earnings ratio of about 3, and they've been building up this big cash reserve. Now, when will this be able to be paid out? Well, they need to refinance a loan related to a Indonesian charter that's been, they don't deliver there anymore. They deliver in Brazil now instead with their neutral. Yeah, so this is a big value play, and I'm looking forward to the day when dividend comes back and I will be able to collect those huge checks and invest them into growth companies instead, increasing the risk as I'm a young man. And then regarding Stoneco, the last buy, if you haven't watched already, I have a video on the bull case for Stoneco that you can watch right there. So check that out, and I hope you make a ton of money, whatever trades you decide to do. Take care now. Bye bye.